So, you are the one who seeks wealth. Adebayo's throat felt dry. Yes, Baba. Do you know, Baba asked, leaning forward, that money is never free. It always demands a price. I know, Adebayo whispered, though he truly did not. Baba nodded slowly. Then listen carefully. If you want wealth, you must give up your nights. You will never sleep at night. The day is for your rest, but when the sun sets, your eyes must remain open. The night will belong to you. But if you ever close your eyes and sleep at night, your life will end that same night. The morning sun rose slowly over Lagos, painting the sky with orange light. The world was waking up. Cars honked on busy streets, women shouted prices in the market, and children in school uniforms hurried down the road. But inside a small, cramped room in a shared apartment, Adebayo sat on his bed with his head in his hands. He was 26 years old, a university graduate, but he had nothing to show for it. No job. No money. No future. His mother always said, "Bayo, you are a bright boy. God will make a way." His father, however, was less patient. All this schooling and nothing to show. What use is a degree if you cannot feed yourself? Every morning, Adebayo opened his email, hoping for replies to the countless job applications he had sent. Every morning, his inbox stayed empty, or worse, filled with rejection letters. "We regret to inform you." Those words stung more each time. His friends from school were moving on. Some had traveled abroad. Some had jobs in banks, oil companies, or tech firms. Adebayo, on the other hand, was still borrowing transport money from his younger sister just to attend interviews that led nowhere. He wanted to give up, but giving up meant staying poor forever. And poverty was a disease he could not accept. One hot afternoon, as he walked home from yet another failed interview, he heard the loud honk of a car behind him. He turned, irritated, only for his mouth to drop open. A sleek black Mercedes-Benz slowed to a stop beside him. The windows rolled down, and a familiar face appeared. "Hola. Omo. Adebayo. Is this really you?" Ola grinned, gold chain glinting on his neck. Adebayo could hardly recognize him. This was the same Ola he had known from university, the boy who once begged lecturers for extensions, who wore faded shirts and torn sandals. But now, his skin glowed, his wrist carried a heavy Rolex, and the Benz he drove looked like a spaceship compared to the downfall buses choking the road. "Ola?" Adebayo asked, still stunned. "My guy." Ola laughed. "Enter the car, let's talk." Inside, the leather seats hugged Adebayo's body. The smell of expensive perfume filled the air. Loud music thumped from the speakers, shaking the glass. "Guy, see your life," Ola teased, giving him a playful slap on the shoulder. "Still trekking under hot sun. You never change." Adebayo managed a smile. "At least I still dey alive." But his heart was racing. "Ola, abeg, tell me the truth. How did you become this person? I mean, look at you. Look at this car." Ola smirked, eyes on the road. "Let's just say, I found the fast lane. Money is not hiding, my brother. You only need to know where to look." They stopped at a fancy restaurant, one Adebayo had only seen in magazines. Waiters in white shirts and black bow ties served them plates of food that smelled too rich to eat. Adebayo felt out of place, his cheap shirt clinging to his sweaty back. He watched as Ola ordered without even checking the menu. Champagne, grilled fish, chicken wings, and a plate of jollof rice that cost more than Adebayo's entire weekly budget. Finally, Adebayo asked, "Ola, abeg, stop hiding. What do you do?" Ola leaned back in his chair, sipping champagne. He smiled knowingly. "Have you heard of Yahoo?" The word sent a shiver through Adebayo. Everyone had heard of Yahoo boys, young men who scammed foreigners online, sending sweet words and fake stories until the victim sent money. It was fraud. Illegal. Dangerous. But it was also the fastest way to riches. Ola, Adebayo whispered. You mean? Yes. Ola leaned forward, his eyes sharp. This is the way. Forget those useless job applications. Forget sitting in your father's house waiting for miracles. Money is here. You just have to reach out and take it. Adebayo swallowed hard. His mind screamed against it. His mother's prayers echoed in his head. But another voice, quieter yet stronger, whispered, do you want to remain broke forever? He clenched his fist under the table. Teach me. Ola's smile widened. I knew you were my guy. Don't worry. I'll show you everything. The following weeks dragged Adebayo into a new world. Ola introduced him to the art of creating fake identities online. They stole photos from Facebook, crafted fake love stories, pretended to be American soldiers or lonely businessmen. Adebayo practiced typing in accents, writing sweet lies to strangers thousands of miles away. At first, it was exciting. He imagined himself counting dollars, buying cars, wearing gold like Ola. He worked day and night, sending messages, waiting for replies. But nothing came. The women he chatted with laughed at him, blocked him, or simply disappeared when he asked for money. Weeks turned into months. His laptop screen became his prison. His inbox filled with conversations, but his wallet remained empty. One night, frustrated, he slammed his laptop shut and buried his face in his hands. God, why me? Why is it not working? When he complained to Ola, his friend only laughed. Relax, my guy. You think it's easy? You must pay your dues. The game doesn't bless everybody equally. If you want to rise, you must be willing to go deeper. Deeper? Adebayo asked, frowning. Ola leaned closer, his voice low. Yes. I will ask you once, Bayo. Are you willing to do anything for money? Adebayo stared at him, confused, afraid, yet desperate. He thought of his father's disappointment, his mother's tired face, his own shame. Slowly, he nodded. Yes. Anything. Ola's smile returned, but there was no warmth in it this time. Good. Then you are ready to see the real way. And just like that, Adebayo's life stepped closer to a darkness he could not yet imagine. The night was quiet when Ola told Adebayo to follow him. They drove out of the city, past the noisy streets, past the flashing lights of bars and clubs, until they entered a lonely road lined with tall trees. The only sound was the engine of Ola's car and the crickets singing in the bush. Where are we going? Adebayo asked nervously. Ola's eyes stayed on the road. To see Baba. He is the one who opened my doors. If you are serious about making money, this is the final step. Adebayo felt his chest tighten. Something about the way Ola spoke made his skin crawl, but he stayed quiet. Desperation chained him to his seat. He wanted money. He wanted freedom. The car stopped in front of a small mud house, hidden deep inside the bush. The air smelled of smoke and herbs. Strange symbols were drawn on the walls. A faint red light glowed inside, like fire dancing in a pot. This is the place, Ola said as he stepped out. Adebayo hesitated. Every instinct in his body told him to run, but his feet betrayed him, following Ola into the hut. Inside, the room was dim. Candles burned on the floor, their flames flickering like frightened spirits. The walls were covered with old calabashes, feathers, and bottles filled with dark liquids. At the center of it all sat Baba, an old man with white hair, his eyes sharp like knives. He looked at Adebayo for a long moment before speaking. His voice was deep, heavy, and slow. So, you are the one who seeks wealth. Adebayo's throat felt dry. Yes, Baba. Do you know, Baba asked, leaning forward, that money is never free. It always demands a price. I know, Adebayo whispered, though he truly did not. Baba nodded slowly. Then listen carefully. If you want wealth, you must give up your nights. You will never sleep when darkness covers the land. The day is for your rest, but when the sun sets, your eyes must remain open. The night will belong to you. But if you ever close your eyes and sleep when the moon is high, your life will end that same night. The words hit Adebayo like thunder. His heart pounded. Never sleep at night. Baba's eyes glowed in the candlelight. Never. Adebayo shook his head. That is too much. How can a man live like that? To never sleep at night. That is not life. Baba leaned back, silent, as if his work was done. But Ola placed a firm hand on Adebayo's shoulder. Bayo, listen to me, Ola said. I have been doing this for 5 years. Look at me. Look at the life I live. Cars, houses, women, all mine. Do you think it came free? Every blessing carries a price. This is the one we must pay. Adebayo turned to him, his voice trembling. So, you never sleep at night? Ola laughed lightly. Of course not. I sleep during the day, when the sun is out. At night, I work, I party, I enjoy life. It is not as hard as you think. You just need discipline. Trust me, after some time, it becomes normal. But Ola, Adebayo's voice broke. What if I fail one night? What if I fall asleep by mistake? Then you die, Ola said simply, his eyes serious. But ask yourself, Bayo, what do you have to lose? You are already dying slowly in poverty. You want to keep waiting for miracle jobs that will never come? Or do you want to taste the sweetness of real money? Adebayo's chest rose and fell as he struggled inside. His mind screamed against it, but his heart longed for riches. He remembered the shame in his father's eyes, the pity in his mother's voice, the emptiness in his pocket. Finally, with tears stinging his eyes, he whispered, I will do it. Baba smiled faintly, as though he had been expecting this answer all along. Good, Baba said. Then let us begin. He brought out a clay pot filled with black liquid and placed it before Adebayo. He drew strange marks on the floor, chanting words in a language Adebayo did not understand. The air grew heavy, the candles flickered wildly, and Adebayo felt a chill crawl across his skin. Baba took a razor, cut Adebayo's finger, and let drops of blood fall into the pot. He sprinkled white powder on Adebayo's head, muttering louder and louder until his voice shook the walls. Then he looked into Adebayo's eyes and said, It is done. From today, wealth will follow you. But remember, the night is no longer yours. Sleep, and you die. The change was almost immediate. Within days, Adebayo's online scams began to work. The same women who once ignored him now sent him money eagerly, crying for his love. Strangers begged to invest in his fake businesses. Dollars flowed into his accounts like a river. His life transformed overnight. He bought new clothes, flashy shoes, gold chains. He moved into a big house with marble floors and glass windows. He bought cars, each one shinier than the last. When night came, instead of lying in bed, Adebayo filled his hours with endless activity. He worked on his laptop, went to clubs, drank champagne, danced with women, and laughed with friends. The city belonged to him. He was untouchable. At first, it was easy. Staying awake at night felt like freedom. The world slept while he lived like a king. But deep inside, a quiet fear always followed him, the fear of what would happen if, just once, he closed his eyes. And though he did not know it yet, that fear was waiting to grow. At first, it all felt like a dream. Adebayo had everything he once prayed for. His garage shone with cars, a black Range Rover, a red Benz, and even a Lexus Jeep that turned heads wherever he drove. His closet was full of designer clothes, perfumes from Dubai, and golden wristwatches that sparkled like stars. His bank account never ran dry. At night, when others slept, he lived. He would sit in VIP lounges, champagne bottles lined before him like soldiers, women laughing and clinging to his arms. The DJs shouted his name as if he were a celebrity. He threw cash in the air, and people fought to pick it up. For months, life was sweet. But then, slowly, the sweetness began to fade. One night, after leaving a club, Adebayo felt something strange. His eyes were heavy, his body weak. He shook his head quickly, forcing himself awake. Fear shot through him. No. I must not sleep. He blasted loud music in his car, opened the windows, let the wind slap his face. By the time he reached home, his clothes were damp with sweat. He collapsed into his chair, heart racing. He stayed awake till morning, but the fear lingered. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. Adebayo's body began to fail him. His eyes sank deep into his skull. His skin grew pale. No matter how much money he spent on food, drinks, or women, nothing could fill the emptiness in him. He laughed at parties, but inside he was hollow. Sometimes, he would see shadows moving in his house when no one else was there. He would hear whispers calling his name in the middle of the night. Once, while typing on his laptop, he felt a cold hand touch his shoulder. He turned quickly, but there was no one. His wealth had bought him everything, except peace. His mother noticed first. "My son," she said one morning when she came to visit. "Your eyes, you look sick." Adebayo forced a smile. "Mama, I'm fine. It is only stress. Don't worry." But she did worry. Mothers always know. Soon, the sickness became worse. Some nights, Adebayo would collapse, his heart beating too fast, his breath shallow. Doctors ran tests again and again, but nothing was found. They gave him drugs, injections, vitamins, but the shadows inside him only grew stronger. One night, when he thought he was alone, his mother knelt beside his bed, tears falling from her eyes. "God, please, whatever is wrong with my son, don't take him from me. Have mercy on him." Her voice broke something in Adebayo. For the first time in years, he felt ashamed. The next Sunday, his mother begged him to follow her to church. At first, he resisted. "Mama, I don't believe in pastors. I don't want fake prayers." But she held his hand, her eyes full of pain. "Please, my son. Just once. For me." Too weak to argue, Adebayo agreed. The church was small, nothing like the fancy clubs he was used to. The floor was bare, the benches wooden. Yet, as soon as he entered, he felt the air change. It was heavy, pressing against his chest. The pastor, an elderly man with calm but piercing eyes, watched him carefully. When the service ended, Adebayo's mother pulled him forward. "Man of God, please help us," she cried. "Doctors have tried, but nothing works. My son is dying." The pastor laid his hand on Adebayo's shoulder. The touch burned like fire. Adebayo flinched, trembling. The pastor closed his eyes, prayed softly, then suddenly stopped. His eyes opened, sharp and heavy. "This sickness is not ordinary," he said. His voice was steady, but the room grew colder. "It is not from God. It is from something he did. Something he gave himself to." Adebayo's mother gasped. "What do you mean?" The pastor's gaze did not move. He made a covenant. A covenant of darkness. His wealth is not clean. The price has come to collect itself. Unless he lets go, unless he chooses freedom over riches, death will be his portion. The words cut through Adebayo like a knife. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. The images flooded back, Baba's shrine, the blood, the powder, Ola's words. I didn't want this, he cried. I only wanted a better life. I was tired of suffering. I was tired of poverty. His mother sobbed beside him. My son, what have you done? The pastor knelt too, looking into his eyes. Son, listen to me. There is a way out. If you want peace, if you want to sleep again, you must give away all this wealth. You cannot keep it and be free. You must let it go. Adebayo's chest tightened. Everything. All of it. Yes, the pastor said firmly. That is the only way. You must return what was bought with darkness. Only then will God restore your peace. For days, Adebayo wrestled with the decision. He sat in his mansion, staring at his cars, his money, his clothes. He thought of the years of suffering before the wealth. He thought of the taste of power, the respect he now commanded. Could he really give it all away? But then, each night reminded him of the truth. The whispers. The shadows. The endless fear of sleep. His life was no longer his. He was a prisoner of his own success. One evening, he stood before his mirror. His face looked hollow, his eyes dark, his lips dry. The man staring back at him was not happy. He was dying. That night, he made his choice. The next morning, Adebayo began to give everything away. He called family, friends, strangers. He shared his wealth until nothing remained. Cars were sold, houses emptied, bank accounts cleared. People called him crazy, but he didn't care. At last, he returned to his small room, the same one he had left behind years ago when poverty chased him. There was no more gold chain on his neck, no Benz outside, no champagne in his fridge. But for the first time in years, he lay on his bed, closed his eyes, and slept peacefully through the night. When the morning sun touched his face, he smiled. He was broke again, yes. But his soul was free.